Assume Donna Adelson gets arrested, 73 years old, goes to a maximum security prison for women. What is a day like for her in that prison system? Walk us through a day for her.
Well, so the difference between, a higher maximum security prison and the places where Jackie and I were at is, you'll be in a cell. You will have a door that is only open when someone else opens it for you. They generally have the toilet and the shower in the cell, and you are stuck with whoever your cellmate is. You have to really not get along with someone for them to move you. And even then, sometimes they don't. So, she could be stuck with someone that she doesn't like in a room for 23 hours out of the day, but her movements will be very structured. She goes to chow at a certain time. She gets her laundry done in a certain time. If she has a work assignment, it's almost like Groundhog Day, honestly, in a sense. It's the same thing. And her days will probably be very long to that extent because it is so repetitive and so monotonous.
And would they put her in a cell with someone of similar age, or could she be in a cell with a 23-year-old with neck tattoos?
It could be whoever. They do not look at you on paper and then say, oh, okay, what open cells do we have? Like, will they get along? It does not matter. It's just wherever there is an open, there's no matchmaking in prison, right? like it's just whatever bed is open, that is where you get put. And you just have to either make the best of it or, yeah.
She comes from an affluent upbringing, and lived a very, very nice life in South Florida. Her husband is a prominent dentist. Her son is a prominent dentist. She drove fancy sports cars, had boats. Does it make it extra difficult when you kind of got like all the riches of life and now they're completely stripped away from you suddenly?
Yes. Absolutely. I mean, I was in prison with women who came from very similar lifestyles, and they get to prison. And I don't want to say they expect that same type of lifestyle in that sense, but you can tell they get irritated a little bit when, okay, the food's not going to be great, right? So you're not at a 5-star restaurant. And I don't want to say they take offense to things, but it's almost like they do take offense to things like, oh, this food is terrible. How could they feed it to us? Well, you're in prison. Like, so it is what it is.
It's your honey. You're in prison.
Learn how to be resourceful, right? Like, we would clean the floors of our cubes using a maxi pad because we didn't have mops, or the mops were disgusting, or you'll do your dishes with a maxi pad because that's your sponge. Like, it's just something that she's going to have to get used to. It's just the reality of her situation.
Man, I'm going to need Klonopin after this. Hearing all this, scaring the crap out of me.
What you can do with a maxi pad is shocking.
Yeah. It's amazing how innovative prisoners become. It's wild. But Jacqueline, for you, so Ashley talked about Donna. Now we've got Wendi, who's coming up on her mid to late 40s. Same deal. She's living in South Beach, as far as everyone knows, still kind of living the high life. Authorities come, they grab her. She's indicted. She's ultimately convicted. This is all hypothetical. She gets put away for life, goes to a maximum security prison. What is a day like for Wendi Adelson? There's no makeup in prison either, right?
Oh, there is.
Oh, there is. Okay. All right. We got
Wet
that.
and Wild 99-cent deal.
Yeah. It's not Mac. It's not Mac or Estee Lauder. But so what's a day like? Walk us through from early morning to late at night for Wendi Adelson if she was to be convicted and imprisoned.
Well, I think the biggest thing too is handcuffs, 23 hours behind a cell, not seeing outside. There's no tanning booths in prison. So her tan won't be there, but it's much easier to never have money than to have had money and lose it. And I think that Donna will have almost an easier time than Wendi in prison. Donna's lived a lot of her life. She is older. I think Wendi is very entitled. She is very about me, and that will not work well for her in prison at all. The thing about maximum security is solitary confinement. Again, it does not discriminate. Women are thrown in solitary confinement often. And she could find herself, if she's not getting along, playing nice, she could end up in solitary confinement where you are 23 hours in a dark cell by yourself, food being pushed through a little hole in the door. Then there's health issues. At 40 something years old, you have reproductive issues. You have, even for Donna, the healthcare inside prison is disastrous. You're not going to go to a cushy hospital. I don't find pleasure in talking about this at all because the kids is what I think of. I get emotional when I talk about kids because of my 3 kids and I know what they've gone through. These 3 children are the children that she has forever without a mom. In Connecticut, we had the Photos Dulos case, same type of thing. Now the dad committed suicide. The mom, they say he killed her. 5 children without their parents. That is the real injustice in this entire case, as far as I'm concerned, to end my note.
I also think it's important to note that, in prison, you are around people who are very street smart. A lot of them have grown up in an environment where that was required, right? So they see through fakeness, they will call you out on your bullshit, excuse my French, but they like to keep it real, right? Like they will put you in your place if you need to be put in place, because these women and men have been through a lot in their lives. And the kids, again, like Jackie's saying with the kids, it's particularly heartbreaking, especially because youth who have had a parent who's incarcerated have about an 85% chance to end up in the system themselves.
It's interesting. I grew up somewhat privileged, not overly privileged. Don't get mad. Carms gets mad when I say that, but I grew up well. But honestly, some of the, like this boxing trainer I have, shout out to Josh. When you've been through that, your perspective on life is so different. And these people, they do see the world totally different. They see through the bullshit. It could be a very, very, very long life potentially for Wendi if she's in there. And again, there's no pleasure in any of this because it's a lose-lose for everybody.